There are two main things that you can optimize and really perfect to get huge returns on threads. One of them is your hook, and the other one is your profile. Now, regardless of how many views you get each month, each week, whatever, it's a lot of people. Imagine how many people that is in one room, and that's the amount of first impressions or repeat impressions you're having with someone. As the saying goes, first impressions matter. It's like when you give someone a handshake or whatever the custom is for you to greet someone wherever you are in the world. It's like the difference between a strong, firm handshake and a floppy fish. What kind of impression does a strong handshake give versus a floppy fish? I remember there was a principal at my high school, and he was notorious for giving floppy fish handshakes. And all of us were like, what's up with this dude? Shouldn't he be leading by example? It's the same thing with your profile. You want to make a great first impression. And if you are, it's going to become a money magnet. If it's not, it's going to become a conversion killer. If people are not turned on by a profile, they're not going to be clicking your links. They're not going to be following you. Do you know what I mean? Your profile is something that's super important. And if we can optimize it, it can become something that works for us in our sleep. So that is the situation with the profile. It needs to instantly communicate value and credibility, and you need to give people a clear reason to follow you. If you don't, they bounce and you've lost them. How do I know this? I've helped hundreds of you optimize your profiles within Saints College over the last 11 months. I've seen the same things over and over again. In light of that experience, by the end of this class, I'm going to help you turn your profile into some kind of high converting asset that works for you in your sleep instead of just a dead landing page, because that's really what it is. It's a landing page. You don't need a website anymore for what we do on Threads and the monetization part that comes afterwards. So what we're going to do is look at an example of a good profile, a bad profile, or a not so good. We're going to provide some suggestions on how to optimize it. And I'm going to show you the 5 things you can optimize to nail your profile. After that, I'll talk about what the point of all of that is. So we'll zoom out a little bit from looking at the profile with a magnifying glass to, all right, what's the whole point of this? Why do we just optimize our profile? What is your goal on Threads? Do you know where you're going? And what are the actions that you're taking to get you there? Because if you don't know what those are, you're just going to be chasing your tail and chasing random short-term goals and actually not get anywhere in the long term, because this shit does take time. And anyone who tells you otherwise is lying to you. That's the reality of it. That's my truth. And that's the truth of everyone that I've worked with so far. So that's our plan for today. Let's dive in. First things first, if you're feeling game, send me your profile, send a profile link in the chat, and you can get a free profile roast as we are live on the call. And I encourage you to use a growth mindset here. Whoa, George. All right. Let's do one more. George is first. We're going to do one more as well. So send it in. It's Sam. Oh, it's Sam. Sorry, I didn't even recognize it was your full name.
Yeah.
This makes so much sense now. It's great to have you on the call, Sam. Sorry I didn't put 2 and 2 together earlier. All right. Tab, window. This will do. Cool. So let's have a look at George's first. All righty. Couple reactions. So let me know you can see my screen. There are 5 things that we want to bear in mind when we go and optimize a profile. And the first one is the name. Then we're looking at our profile picture or display picture, DP. That's the second one. Then we've got our bio. That's the third one. The fourth one is a link in bio. The fifth one is the pinned post. And notice how, look, some people will actually not regard the pinned post, but you saw what happened when I clicked on George's profile. This is what most people will see when they click on George's profile, regardless of whether they're on mobile or desktop. Therefore, these are the 5 things we want to optimize. The first one is the name. Obviously, your name's your name, but the point with this one is, if we just go take a look at mine, for example, you can do something like this. Now, this is more of an optional one. The other 4 things are more essential, like compulsory if you really want to optimize your profile. But I didn't do this until I hit around 10K. And by that point, I was like, I've already lent into this. I may as well just make it abundantly clear. But I'll come back to that one in a second. For George, the profile, I'll get a side by side up. There we go. We've got the profile, and then as Sam has here, he's got NX Growth AI. When I click on Sam's profile, I know that he's doing something with AI. The first thing I would say is with this, if I'm a stranger, I won't know what that is. So you need to assume that I'm not going to take the time to figure it out. I just want to be told what the value is or what you do. And in all honesty, I would probably just ignore this because I don't know what it is. It's not giving me any clarity about what you do. So that's one suggested tweak, Sam, is think about what you could change with this to make it clearer, because this assumes that people know what you do when they click on your profile. But the AI thing, that's great. Like that tells me, it's just this doesn't add anything to helping me understand how you can help me. We've got the profile, and notice how I'm going from name to profile. This actually forms a Z, but I'll get to that in a second. My take on this is that this is one of the most important things you can optimize, because when we're scrolling on the feed, think about all the different profiles and what makes them stand out. Color is an easy one. Chris knows what he's doing. This one stands out among all of the profiles on my screen on the left-hand side because it's green. Most profiles don't look like that. Pretend that I'm just mindlessly scrolling on threads. Lewis, the Emperor, same thing. It's blue. I'm not saying blue or green is the color to go for. I'm just saying which one stands out among the rest. And to me, it's Lewis's. Chris, think about Presley over here. Think about what impact this has when thousands, hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of people, I know 300 million, are like looking on threads. They happen to see your profile stand out among the rest. So you can probably see what I'm getting at here. One thing that I would encourage George to take a look at is, again, it doesn't need to be colors, just an easy example, is how can you make yours stand out among the rest? Because think about it, that's what a great personal brand does. We don't blend in. And lots of people go for the black and white because it's like a Dan Coe Twitter thing. But if everyone has a black and white profile picture, you are blending in and not standing out. So how can you make your profile uniquely you? And for instance, Sam has done this really well because while he's got color here, he's also got some sort of pattern. Whenever I see this, it's like an instant recognition. Like for me, that's Sam. That's the kind of effect we want your profile picture to have, because this is how brand associations come together. Like when I think of Sam, I think of orange and yellow. This is really powerful. And I've taken it to the nth degree with mine, because hopefully you've probably noticed that these colors are everywhere inside Saints College. If we go into the classroom, they're everywhere. So these colors for me mean a lot. The yellow represents warmth and self-improvement. The red represents energy, passion, and online business. And the blue represents wisdom and mental models. That's how I conceptualize this. And I want each of those elements to be infused in everything I talk about. All in all, what I'm trying to say here is just think about how you can actually use your profile to work for you, your profile picture to work for you. Because for me, if 417,000 people have seen this image over the last month, and that is repeated time and time again over multiple months, for me, it's been 19 months, 20 months on threads, it makes sense to spend a bit of time on it and to just have it work for you, right? Is everyone understanding what I'm saying here about the profile picture? I'd say it's the most important thing. George, Angelica, Yaz, sweet. Sam, all right, cool. Coming back to it, so far we've discussed the name, the profile picture, the actual bio. I've got, so the bio, really, it's who, how, and then CTA. So who do you help? How do you help them? And what do you want us to do? Who? for George, so we know George, a missionary and Bible teacher, spends 10 to 15 hours a week deep diving into God's word. If you're feeling stuck or hungry for more, grab my notes. This is where I'd want to know more clearly who you're trying to call out, George. If you're feeling stuck is a bit too vague. It's that classic saying, if you try to speak to everyone, you speak to no one, because everyone feels stuck. I wouldn't say I'm a religious person, more spiritual than religious, but right now I feel stuck. But after reading this, I do feel stuck, but I'm not really a religious person, so I'm sitting on the fence. I don't know whether I should go and click further. And this is the whole point of specificity, because it's like being more clear with who you're speaking to. It feels nerve-wracking because you're like, oh, what about all the people that I have to cut off? But weirdly enough, that's when you actually start getting the most people coming into your world. And that's been my experience, and everyone else I've helped along the way as well. With Sam, so the who, writing about AI tools, guides, and tips, building informative AI newsletter, join us to work smarter with AI. Think about being on a fence, and we've got fence sitters right now. I don't feel like I'm being spoken to directly. So I'm on the fence. If I'm on the fence, I'm not going to either click on the newsletter or the link, or I feel like this is definitely not for me. My suggestion is that you want to actually be divisive in terms of draw that line in the sand. This is either for you or it's not. For example, for me, here's a weird fact, but it does prove the point. The moment I changed my profile from what it was before, it was more generic, talking about mental models, self-improvement, online business. The moment I changed it to this, I actually started getting less followers, but I started getting more conversions inside of Saints College. See what I'm getting at? What are you optimizing for? If you're optimizing for followers and nothing else, then sure, go broad and speak to no one. But if you're optimizing for other business outcomes, like more leads in terms of community members or newsletter subscribers, that's when the specificity helps. So here, built #1 threads group, 2,000 plus friends to help you grow for free. It doesn't directly say, if you want to grow on thread, like I help you grow on threads, but it's implying that if you want to grow on threads, this is for you. And if you don't, this page probably isn't for you. So that transitions into the what. We've got the who, like who are you trying to speak to? Then the what. What do you help them do? I help you grow for free. What do you help me do? Sam's got work smarter with AI. George, I spend 10 to 15 hours a week diving deep into God's word. If you're feeling hungry for more, grab my notes in bio. For George, I'd want to see a clear statement or short phrase that's telling me what you help me do. Now that you've called me out, what do you help me do? What can I get from you? What can you give me? Because I'm selfish. I don't care about what you do. I care about what you can do for me. So that's the what. And then finally, there's the CTA, which you both got. Join us to work smarter with AI. The clarity of the CTA for George is good. Grab my notes in bio. So here, it's like, all right, I'm guessing that's it. It's very clear. But join us to work smarter with AI. Do you mean like follow me or subscribe?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Because you want to, I really believe in just having one thing. For example, built #1 threads group to help you grow for free. And then I've got a little arrow pointing directly down to the link. So it's saying, just click on the link and join. And if you do that, you're probably going to end up following me anyway. But that's what I'm optimizing for. And if you can be clear about what you want them to do, you want them to follow you, or do you want them to click on the link in bio, or what? Choose one of them and then make that clear through an emoji with an arrow or just the words you use. But either way, don't make me question what you want me to do. That's the actual bio. My hot take on this is that I think link trees are like a waste. I really believe that just have one link in your bio and have them go to the landing page to that thing. So even though I run Full Circle and Saints College, you'll notice that my profile only has Saints College. It does not have a link tree because I'm adding in an unnecessary step. I want to make things as easy as possible for anyone who comes onto my page. If I'm giving them the paradox of choice, oh, should I choose this one or this one? Which one's going to be right for me? They get a notification, their friends texted them, and then they're gone and they've forgotten about me. And I guarantee you, if you have a link tree in your bio right now, you have lost a lot of leads because you've given these people like overwhelm. It's a hot take. I know lots of people wouldn't agree, but that's what I truly believe. And it's just a logical thing. Like, logically speaking, are you making it easier for someone to join your thing or subscribe to your thing if they need to take 2 steps, click on this link, click join, or 3 steps, click on Linktree, figure out which option is good for them, and then join? 2 or 3. It's as simple as that. So far, we've recapped 4 of the 5 parts of your profile. 1 is the name, 2 is the display picture, 3 is the bio, and then 4 is the link in bio. 5 is your pinned post. There are, I think, 3 different types of pinned posts you can have. 1 is a viral post, because it's all look at me. 2 is a introductory post. So this is something like, hey everyone, welcome to my page. It's acknowledging I see you, you've landed on my page, here's what you need to know about me, here's what I can do for you. It's a more elaborate version of your bio. And this is best when it is a story. So you're actually telling people about you, but more subtly. So it's not like self-promotion, and it's more kind of entertaining in a way. And it's like making people feel things. So you've got the viral post as one type of pin post. You've got the story as another type of pin post. And then you've got the conversion as another type of pin post. And the conversion is basically, you've got a post that works well to convert followers to leads. By the way, those don't need to be, they're not separate. They can be the same thing. You can have a story that tells people about you. It's also viral, which is telling people, like, you know, at a glance that I can write on threads. So that kind of builds a bit of proof. And then it also converts people. And if you can make one post do all 3, awesome. For reference, I've got one that does 2 of those. This is a post I did last year, and it's done really well. I made a video about it. A lot of you probably seen it inside Saints College. And it just has the basics about what you need to know on threads. This post has generated so many leads inside of Saints College, at least 100, and probably maybe even 150. Yeah, probably 150. And I'd say 100 of those have come from it just being a pinned post. Now, it's not a massive amount, but every bit counts, and it's still considerable. Coming back to Sam and George, remember, we've got story, viral post, or conversion. Personally, if I was to rank them in order, it depends on what you're optimizing for. If you're optimizing for conversions, pin a post that's for conversions. If you're optimizing for vanity metrics, do one that has virality and the vanity metrics. Or if you're optimizing for brand building, have the story post. If you want to have all 3, have one that does all 3. For George, for most of my life, I did not enjoy reading the Bible. That's hard to admit. I wanted to enjoy it. I wanted to stay focused. I didn't want to fall asleep whenever I read it. Here's what I think got in my way. Thread. Just from this hook, I'm getting a sense that there's an element of storytelling in there. And also, it's powerful because there's some vulnerability. George is opening up to the reader about, I'm not a perfect person. I'm a Bible teacher. I didn't always love reading the Bible. I'm human. I have my own flaws. That already helps me establish an emotional connection with George. For Sam, I've compiled 50 ChatGPT prompts to boost productivity and efficiency, perfect for XYZ. The article link is in the first comment. This is a combination of a viral post as well as a link to join Sam's newsletter. Oh, yeah, it's literally here. And yeah, so I don't think there'd be much storytelling here, but Sam's got pretty much what I've got, virality as well as conversions. As far as the pinned post goes for both of you, say it's pretty good. A quick summary of what I'd suggest you both tweak to make your profiles more effective is, George, have a think about that stuff about the display picture and how you can make yours uniquely you and just really pop and stand out on the feed. With the bio, think about who directly you want to speak to and then what you offer them. That's it. Yeah, those two. The bio, tweak it so that it more clearly says who and what. For Sam, the name, I'd consider changing this because most people who see this just won't know what it means. And you want to be clear, not like clever. The AI thing is great, but I'd consider just making this something that anyone who sees this can understand instantly. Helping you grow with AI or AI automation or anything like that. Just make it so that a 5-year-old understands it. The profile is great. Already spoken about that, the picture. Then in terms of the who and the what, have a clearer CTA if you want them to follow you or join the newsletter. The who could be more specific. You've got AI tools, but everyone can speak about AI tools. What makes your AI tools different, or what is it that, who are you targeting really, is what I'm trying to say. I'm targeting people who want to grow on threads. Then the what do you help them do? You've implied this with work smarter. So quick summary for you, Sam. Change this part of the name so people can instantly understand what it means without having to think twice. Then incorporate in your bio the who. Who are you trying to speak to directly? And then thirdly, with your CTA, make that clearer so you're telling me exactly what you want me to do. Follow you, click on the link, whatever. Okay. And that is how I'd optimize both of your bios to squeeze extra juice out of them. Either of you have any questions before we move on?
That's good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Pleasure. Okay. Cool. Moving on with the show. That is your bio. Now, here's the question that most of us avoid. What's the point of all this? Where are we going with it? I'll share my screen again, because this is where most of us get stuck. This is where I was stuck. This is really about your goals. And maybe you feel some sort of resistance towards this word, maybe not. But if you don't know where you're going, all of this stuff on threads is going to be, honestly, a waste of time. The goal doesn't need to be set in stone, but you need to know what you're working towards with threads, because it takes a lot of time to do this. Some people just do it much better than others. There's a friend in Saints College, and she's grown her account to 1,500 followers in the last 33 days. That will be the topic of a separate class, because naturally you're like, how did that happen? And I will be talking about that later. But for most of us, this takes time. What are you working towards? Whether that 10K followers, 1K newsletter subscribers, a school community, monetization is probably some combination of all of the above. What is that? Because unless it will feel hard to do this on threads, because without that fuel in the tank, you just feel like you're taking each day as it comes instead of thinking, all right, this is what's going to help me in the long term. To give you a tactical example, right now, going through a phase where my threads, the engagement, it's just not great for me because it's been a hectic time in life. I've gone through a breakup, I'm moving house. All of these things are happening at once. And that's okay. Like, I'm not worried about that because I don't plan on stopping any of this stuff for the next 5 to 10 years. So what's 1 week in that 5 to 10 year goal? I know what that goal is for me. I want to build up full circle to the 10K months so that I can quit my job, pay off my house that I eventually get, and then make that my full-time thing. Make full circle, Saints College, my full-time thing, and I'll quit my job. That's it in a nutshell. And that's why I'm doing all of this. I wouldn't be doing it unless I absolutely loved it. It's unshakable. Like, I will not give up until I make that happen. It might take 5 years, it might take 10, but I want that to happen. I believe that I'm going to make that happen with what I'm currently doing or some close version of it. When you think about that why for me, maybe it makes sense why I spend all my time doing this and why I'm pretty obsessed. I ask you, why are you doing this? What do you want from it? And why is that important to you? Because I've seen so many people quit and stop for burning out and not feeling like they're getting results quick enough. When you know why you're doing this, you won't quit. That's more of a philosophical, profound thing. To get into some more tactical stuff, Morton, appreciate you, brother. Now, this is what I call the holy grail of threads conversion. I've mentioned this a few times in the comments of Saints College and in quite a few calls with members inside Full Circle, and they've seemed to find it like very helpful. The holy grail of threads conversion is a 10-to-1 follower to lead ratio. What does that mean? If I have, let's just call that 13K for a nice evenish number. 10-to-1 would be, okay, 13,000 followers would be 1,300 leads or members inside Saints College. That is something you should aim for if you want to make threads part of your online business strategy. If you have 1,000 followers, aim for 100 leads. If you have 2,000 followers, aim for 200 leads. You get the idea, 10-to-1. Now, what does it mean if that ratio is smaller? For me, there are around 2,050 people inside Saints College and 13,000 followers. I'd say maybe 1,700 of those I've brought in. So my ratio might be closer to, I don't know, 8-to-1 or 7-to-1. Basically, this means if this is a 1-to-1 ratio, it means that my content is just, it's on point. It's perfect. But no one will have a 1-to-1 ratio of followers to leads. If it's a 2-to-1, I am speaking so directly to my target audience that this shit is dialed in. The higher you go up, the less dialed in it is. 10-to-1 is something to aim for because it's a nice balance and it's achievable for most people. I mention that because once you understand what you're working towards, what your goal is, then you can start to break that down into actions. Because if you've got a goal, that goal won't just achieve itself. You actually have to get shit done and take action to achieve it. So this is one way of breaking this down. For example, if I want to have 100 members inside Full Circle, let's just call it that, 100 members inside Full Circle paid community, then how do I work back from that? So let's say members inside Full Circle, 2,000 members inside Saints College. If this were the 10-to-1 ratio, this would be 20K, but right now, let's call it 13 on threads. I do believe with the amount of people we have in Saints College now, and with what we'll be talking about at the end of this call, very exciting, this will be possible. And right now, this is telling me that we've just got more work to do to convey the value of Full Circle to all the people in Saints College. There are enough people there. So I'm breaking it down from, all right, I want to have this goal. What do I need to do to get there? 100 members inside Full Circle. We've got this many people in Saints College and 13K on threads. Provided I continue to post on threads, I do enough stuff inside Saints College to get people aware of Full Circle and to make the right people join, because not everyone is right, this will happen. So what are those key actions? And this is where we're breaking this goal down into things that we can do on a daily and weekly basis. I want to post on threads using all the tactics and strategies we've learned inside Saints College. This is just a simplified version of a more comprehensive thing that we'd build out inside Full Circle. Post on threads, then make sure you're plugging your lead magnet once a day. This gets people inside to Saints College. Now we've got the threads growth part sorted. We've got the conversion into a lead magnet sorted. Now what is the thing that gets people from Saints College to Full Circle? For me, there are a bunch of things. One could be calls plus DM promotions, classes like this. So what I've done now is I've looked at, and this is just a very basic version, but I've looked at what goal I have. I've looked at my current situation and whether or not I need to tweak things in this current situation. And right now, I think this is pretty good. We can make this happen with the amount of members and with the growth on threads, authority, etc. These are some actions that I want to be taking on a daily basis. Some of these are daily, like DMs and calls, the class that we're on now, weekly. Essentially, what this is helping me do is if I continue doing this and enjoy the process day after day, week after week, I wholeheartedly believe that I will get here. Does this make sense? So you've got a goal, you reverse engineer your goal into actions you can take to make sure you can achieve that goal. Give me some thumbs up or any sort of reactions to let me know that this is making sense. How does that relate to the profile thing? We spent the first 30, 40 minutes of this class looking at tweaking your profile and understanding what to do. But why does that matter? If you don't understand why doing all of that is actually useful to you, you won't do it. This is why. If Threads is something you enjoy doing and you want to make it part of your online business strategy, understand what your goal is, understand the actions that you should be taking on a regular basis to achieve that goal. When you put the profile thing within that context, it all fits into place. Does that make sense? Any questions about that before we move on?
George asked, what do you mean by calls?
Oh, okay. So I guess I don't like the term sales calls, but that's the easiest way to answer that question. It's more like figuring out whether I'm on a call with someone, asking them questions, whether or not they'd be a good fit for paid community full circle. So it's like one-on-one. Does that answer your question, George? What was that part? Sorry, I missed that.
I was just wondering what that looked like with how you decide on who to call and how that works, and what are those calls generally like? I understand DMs and phone calls. Do they ask to call and talk to you, or how does that work?
Honestly, right now it's a case by case basis. So if actually very relevantly, so Sam and I have been DMing. Sam's expressed interest in Full Circle, and I've mentioned to Sam that I've been moving house and my replies have not been good. We've been able to have a consistent rhythm of replying to each other and gotten clarity on what the right option for Sam would be inside of Full Circle. But I was getting close to saying, oh, man, look, I'm so sorry that these replies are bad. I think this might just be easier to hop on a call and talk about it, so it's not taking days. In that context, I was pretty close to asking Sam whether you'd want to go on a call, because it would help speed up that process when I'm not in a position to reply as quickly as I might otherwise like to. So in that situation, that one is the top of mind, because like I almost asked Sam about that. I suppose just when the DMs is just not going to work because people aren't replying or I'm not very good at replying. And then I just suggest, look, be happy to just hop on a call. All I'm doing is asking questions and basically educating and making sure that this person has problems that we are comfortable solving. So I just ask a bunch of questions to get the situation and understand where they're at. Once I get down to the crux of the problem and why that is like a significant problem, then I can understand, all right, this is something that we help you with or it isn't. And then if it isn't, then I let them know on the call. Those actually feel good because it's a nice reminder that you help people through selling. You don't just sell